Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the Split Tech City podcast. Today we are joined by Piero Palevsky. Hi Piero.
Hi. How's
What's
it going?
up?
I am been summoned very early in the morning. I'm usually a night owl, but 8 a.m. I'll do it just for you.
Just for us.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, first question. Who are you?
Who am I? How deep do you want to get here?
Not too deep.
Not too. Okay. I'm an American. I'm from Boston. 33. Yeah, that's right. 10 years of experience in tech, and I was remote before COVID. So since 2017, I lived in Europe, lived in Belgium, lived in Poland, and traveled around, worked for American companies, and then I came to Split 3 years ago.
Awesome.
And absolutely loved it. It was my favorite place, and decided to move here and commit fully to your city.
To this craziness.
Yeah.
Awesome. So Belgium and Poland, how are they? Cold?
Boring.
Oh, boring. Oh.
No, the people there are very, very nice, very good, but Split was just better for a foreigner. Like, it's got everything with, if you can combine the best of working for an American company and then living in Split and having sort of this beautiful city and all the infrastructure that it has really aimed at Americans in many ways, then it's great.
Okay, what do you mean by aimed at Americans?
Tourists.
Oh, tourists.
There's a lot of
so
tourists.
So you consider yourself a tourist still?
I
wouldn't say that.
take advantage of all the things that Split has to offer for tourists, but I live here instead. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's your kind of tech experience? Let's touch upon that.
So, I'm 10 years experience now.
Okay.
Worked in New York for a few years early in my career. A couple different tech companies, some product, some consulting, and I think after a few years, you can afford to go remote. Juniors, if you're not in the office, it's really difficult. And COVID really screwed over a lot of sort of the younger generation of coders. So now they're all remote and they can't just tap a senior on the shoulder and be like, "I'm lost. What's going on?" And then after I got enough experience to go remote, I did. Worked for a few different companies early in my career, and now I've worked for the same company for 5 years. The tech lead, manage a team, and I mean, one of the main reasons I'm in Croatia is I think there's so much good tech that just needs to get sort of spread to the worldwide market. I think there's a lot of good local tech companies, good local talent, and nobody knows it outside of Split. So
yeah, that's what we're trying to kind of change.
Yeah.
Okay, so to touch upon that a bit, we know, but the audience doesn't know, that you gave a little bit of your time, even though you're busy, to young people here in Split.
Yeah.
Can we hear a little bit about that? Why? How did it come about? Where did you meet them? How did that happen?
Yeah, so there's this program called Jedna Mladost that has sort of very good sort of extracurricular activities for students, whether it's leadership or like video editing, or there's tons of different programs that they run. And I gave my time to work on programming, sort of little mini agency to build a website for a client, give it as close to a real world project as possible. It was a real world project, and I did it partially because I'm a guest in your country in many ways. I'm not, and so I think that's some of my ways to give back. Of I'm not just a free rider. I'm just gonna eat at a nice restaurant and never engage with the local culture, which I think a lot of people do. And then also selfishly, I think getting a sense of where everybody is here, like whether you got the high schoolers, what is their skills, what are the college student skills, what are the early career people's skills, mid-career, senior. So I wanted to get that slice of what is life here for people who want to do programming, want to do coding. And it was really positive. I think everyone was really excited to to, in some ways, stay in Split and leave Split at the same time because they can work internationally while also being in Split. I think they're like, oh, this is a ticket out of sort of being a waiter on Riva, but also they don't have to leave. And I think that's what tech provides in Split, and you can see that at every level.
Yeah, that's pretty kind of obvious. It has been pretty obvious for many, especially after the pandemic, that you can actually live locally while still working globally, which is a thing I guess everyone wants to aspire to with this weather and this lifestyle that.
Yeah, people tell me
here.
it's the Croatian dream, right? Like when I say I'm American, I work for an American company in Croatia, they go, oh, that's the Croatian dream. I've heard many Uber drivers tell me that.
That's interesting to hear.
Yeah.
But let's go back to your outlook on tech, because I obviously can hear that you do have some opinion on it and that you have noticed things, what with being here for so long and what with also engaging actively in the community here in Split, which, as you mentioned, not everyone does, and it's commendable that you do. So what's kind of your impression that you got, starting from the kids to the seniors that you met?
Yeah, I think there's tons of potential here that has yet to be realized. If you look at the pattern of other, let's say, similar cities, a lot of times they turn to tech because there's like a Deutsche Telekom office that got founded 20 years ago, and then people leave Deutsche Telekom, they stay in the town, and then they build their own businesses. Like, for example, like Košice in Slovakia has that story, and there's a lot of different places. Here you have Ericsson, but the Ericsson technologies are not applicable to the broader market in many ways. The language that they use, the programming language that they use, and then the people that work there, they're not involved in the local tech scene. They stay at Ericsson. So Split is somewhat unique in that the tech scene has really grown organically, not from some satellite office of a German or American multinational, which is good because it means that people are really forging their own path, but bad in that there isn't that well of experience to draw from. There's not, people have to really figure things out themselves. And so I think the challenge for Split Tech City, for Split itself, for the companies here, is making it so that people can convert all that enthusiasm into expertise. That is the challenge that we're going to have here.
Okay, and any kind of ideas or tips for that? Now that we already touched upon that.
Selfishly, more people like me, more foreigners who work for American companies that can come and be like, no, this is, how we're doing things now in sort of the high-tech regions in the U.S., whether it's New York or San Francisco or Chicago. There's more of people coming, it's just getting them to engage and be like, okay. And then the other big challenge is after a certain point in people's career here, whether they stop working for local companies and work for international companies, whether it's through TopTal or through a connection, they don't re-engage with the local community. They're sort of like, oh, I've graduated beyond that. They don't go to events anymore. They don't get involved in the universities, and so keeping those people involved year over year as they grow, because there's tons of mid-career people here, like 3, 4, 5 years experience, and making them give back, making it so that it's easy for them to give back is, people will do it, but it's figuring that out.
How to engage them.
Yeah.
So do you think that in that way, community is somewhat of a key to success?
Yeah. Community is really key, but it's what type of community. Because you can have a very junior community. You can have like, oh, well, each year we've got our first year college graduates who haven't quite established themselves, and then they start working, and then they don't come back. Or you have the sort of senior people who come for, good tech talks, like hard tech talks, or they getting senior people to stay involved is hard. It's really hard, and that doesn't happen that much here, to be honest.
Okay, that's a thing to work on.
Yeah.
We definitely like things to work on here, as you might have noticed. What being engaged with Split Tech City and coming to the meetups and coming to events. Speaking of events, we haven't had the chance to catch up, but what's your experience of the Split Tech City Festival?
It was great. It was phenomenal. It was beautiful location, lots of interesting people, and there was a lot of engagement, a lot of young engagement, but again, not a lot of senior engagement, right? There was, I think the average age, the average experience of people there was low, and how to get the older people to come? No, that's your problem. That's your challenge.
True. That's our challenge.
As the organizer.
Yeah. Now to come a little bit back out of tech.
Mm-hmm.
You obviously came here to live. Aside from the weather and aside from good food and interesting things and benefits of tourist way of life.
Mm-hmm.
Any other benefits, any other things that wowed you? Like, I don't know, either people or other things you've seen? Like, is there, I don't know. Some people mention Istria a lot. Have you been there?
I have been there, yes. I have been to Istria.
Yeah?
It's even more focused on tourism, though. I think Pula, and you have Infobip there.
Yeah.
So they have good
True.
industry, but it's not really digital nomad friendly. They just opened a co-working, their first good co-working space in Pula, I think today. I saw the alert. There was no, and so there's a nice new one there. It's today.
Yeah.
I'm giving promotion to them right now.
Yeah, about the co-workings, any preferences here in Split? How does Split compare, in your opinion, having been and traveled to places and worked from different countries and co-workings? What does this co-working
When I
scene
came
here?
a couple of years ago, it was really good.
Yeah.
It was affordable, and now the co-working prices it's cheaper to get a 2-bedroom instead of a 1-bedroom and sit and work from your own home than go to any of the co-working spaces here. Some of them are very nice, but I'm not paying €400 for a desk. That's just not happening.
Yeah,
so
fair enough.
it's another thing to work on.
Yeah.
A lot of people will get a group together and rent an apartment together and set up desks in a studio or 1-bedroom. There's a lot of groups of people that do that over the summer.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's interesting to know, because I mean it's definitely good feedback for the co-working community here, and obviously having attended events even outside of co-workings themselves, if as someone who engages with the community, you don't need a co-working to have community. So I guess in that area,
I don't think you do at this point. There's enough events, there's enough people. I think there's a great community outside of the co-working spaces as well. Yeah.
Cool. That's interesting feedback to have. Any other things you liked? I don't know. Favorite island?
Favorite island? Oh, I like Brač.
You like Brač.
Brač.
Why? Is it the cheese? Is it the wine? Is it the olive oil?
It's not as crowded as Far. That's important. And then the olive oil, and then the Vila Vogora. It's beautiful. It's just a lot better. I don't know. It's usually, I don't drink, so I'm not gonna go to Far and Carpe Diem. It's not my,
not your
my
crowd.
speed. So Far is just a little older, beautiful, can drive around. Yeah.
Awesome. And Dubrovnik, been there?
Yeah, I'm going actually next week again.
It's always better without the crowds, though.
Yeah. No, I think that the tourism side of Croatia is is almost like tangential to why I'm here. Like it's not, especially with tourism being so short term now, with like 2 days, 3 days, you know. I've lived here for a year full time, 2 years probably total. I don't even think about it anymore. I feel like more of a local in terms of.
Yeah, you're definitely more of a local, let's face it. I mean,
Yeah.
you already started learning Croatian, so
But don't ask me to speak it. My brain isn't, not right now.
I won't ask you to speak Croatian because this is obviously a podcast in English,
That's
but
true.
still, it's commendable because it's not an easy language and not everyone even wants to put the effort in to learn, which is so, doing that, it's like
And
hats off.
you guys get frustrated when I speak my crappy Croatian,
No,
especially in the season, because all of the locals are so frustrated with the hvala and the really crappy, so they immediately switch. Oh, they hate it. But now that we're out of season, people are like, oh, so cute. You know?
Yeah,
you're trying. At least you're trying. Yeah.
During the season, I think it's like, oh my God, another tourist that is attempting to do stuff,
right.
and I want to do it quickly. Like,
I don't have
probably,
time for this.
but
No.
I don't have time for this. But out of season, I guess. I mean, we're talking about obviously shops and restaurants. We're not talking about me who switches to English automatically when I see you. But I do want to speak Croatian with you a little bit more. It will help.
Maybe I'm cut that.
Cut that out. So we basically covered most of the topics. One last question, but I want to hear an answer from a local, neither tourist nor an expat. Any tips for the government?
I would say making it easier administratively to stay here, whether that's streamlining some of the MOOP processes, the Ministry of the Interior. It's very hit or miss on whether or not you get your visa on time, people don't like living in uncertainty, and there's people that have been here for years that own businesses that struggle to get visas for their employees. I've got my visa processing time usually takes 3 months. It's been 11. Doesn't matter because I'm Italian now. Thank God. But the uncertainty that people face that causes a very high abandonment of the digital nomad visa needs to be cleaned up. And I think there's consulting services popping up, like Sarah Dyson, the expat in Croatia. She's got services that help streamline that. Great content on exactly how to navigate it. But if you're here for the first time, it's daunting, right? It's like, oh, it's only 5 documents, but then
it's a
which 5
folder of documents.
You're always missing a paper. And so making it so that people that want to stay here can stay here easily without hiring a lawyer, without being afraid that you're going to get deported, is I think the most important thing. Like if you want people to come, make it easy. If you don't.
True. But nevertheless, even though you had those struggles, you still chose to stay. So thank you very much for that, and thank you very much for this chat. It was a pleasure.
Me. Yeah.
And if you want more inspirational content like this, follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel.